Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. So happy Monday. Welcome to another Market Open stream. Today we got to talk about what's this? I spotted this Bitcoin pattern. So what is this pattern exactly? Let's take a look and let's talk about what else is going on in the world today. So welcome, guys. It is time for the market bell. Just made it the best bell in the industry. And you know what? This morning, a little choppy for markets. It's a big earnings week in the U.S. So let's see. The U.S. is about to open mixed, about even, a little bit red, mixed. But you have a lot of different earnings. Samsung, which is not traded in the U.S., but they reported the weakest quarter since 2009. So obviously that's not good. But in the U.S., I saw that, hey, Coca-Cola beat earnings. So it's still kind of mixed. You know, it really depends on, I guess, the niche or the sector these companies are. I mean, look at this headline. Disney begins second larger round of layoffs. So Disney is obviously not doing as well, right? So it's kind of mixed. For the rest of this week, we will be getting a ton of earnings from all major sectors. You have Visa, MasterCard, McDonald's, 3M, Pepsi and Coke, Verizon, Microsoft, Google. Then you got Amazon, Intel. I mean, like all the big powerhouses. Okay. So we'll see which one could actually sway the market up and down. Probably the big tech guys. Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Amazon. These guys will be very telling. Although last week we had Tesla earning, right? Tesla did not do well. And I guess it did pull down the market. It pulled down NASDAQ in a big way. So we might see the same thing happen this week. But obviously, a lot more companies are suffering because of high rates, right? But not everyone. Some are actually profiting from it, especially the banks. The bigger banks, I should say, have been profiting off higher interest rates. But for majority of companies out there, it's hurting them because people are just not spending as much, not borrowing as much, not buying as much, right? And as outside of earnings reports, we got these economic data to look forward to. Consumer confidence, which I'm sure will be lower. New home sales, which I'm sure will be lower. Durable goods order, I'm sure going to be lower. Q1 GDP, okay, I don't need to go. Every one of these will show we are going lower. There's just demand is coming down. There's no way we're going to see like durable goods order go up, for example. I mean, it's just not going to happen. Jobless claims, right? We have seen last week jobless claims start coming up. So that may be the one thing in here that is not going to go lower because we're starting to see people lose more jobs, which is not a good thing. It's not something we want, but it's something that Powell wants. Powell wants to see more people get laid off and wants to see economic slowness or weakness so that he could fight inflation. I don't know. It seems like it's a bad way to fight inflation, but that's really all he has. You know, early on when I started watching his press conferences, he talked about how he has so many tools he could work with, so many tools in his shed that he could use to fight inflation. But after the last year and listening to so many FOMC press conferences, which we will have another one in a couple weeks, there's really only one tool. There's really one. He talks about so many tools, but there's really only one, and that is to increase the rates. That's it. There's nothing else he can do. There's only two ways to fight inflation: increase or decrease supply, or increase or decrease the rates to fight against the, oh no, I said that wrong. Supply and demand, right? So you could either control it with supply or demand side, and he could affect the demand side with rates. he can't do anything about the supply side. That's what I meant to say, right? So really, his only tool is to raise or cut rates. So that's why he's in this position. But anyways, speaking of higher rates, right? This is what kind of prompted Bitcoin's run so far this year. We may have started a bit earlier in terms of our recovery because we had so many banks show weakness or collapse, right? We have seen a lot of banks in the U.S. collapse. We saw Credit Suisse basically about to collapse, but bailed out by the Swiss National Bank. They basically forced a merger between UBS and Credit Suisse, and UBS took a huge write-off because of it. But this is the reason why. $68 billion in assets out last quarter. Massive bank run, basically. No one was depositing. No one was doing any deals with Credit Suisse. They had to basically sell out for pennies on the dollar. Okay, and not only that, there were billions of assets that the Swiss government also took on just to make the deal happen, right? But again, this kind of shows you, this was what I was talking about yesterday too, about banks and distrust in banks. You can't trust these guys, even though they have said, you know, we're fine, we're going to get bailed out. We have been around for hundreds of years, but you know, when these guys go under, they're not just affecting themselves. They're affecting millions of people and businesses around the world. They're so connected now, and our governments are forced to bail them out by printing more money. The U.S., same thing. The Federal Reserve's balance sheet went up by hundreds of billions because there's so much fear in more banks collapsing. And had they not come out with their emergency program, we would be hearing a lot more about banks, one after another, failing. And the only reason why we haven't heard more is because that emergency loan program that Powell implemented, right? And this is not just isolated in the U.S. So obviously it happened in Switzerland. And I think there's a lot more banks around the world that's also being bailed out right now that we don't hear about. I'm sure there are other countries out there that have the same problem, right? And why is this a problem? Well, first of all, you can't trust them. And second of all, this just leads to more inflation, more printing. I mean, where is the money coming from, right? It's either from your pocket with higher taxes or with printing, which they do immediately because they can't just collect hundreds of billions more taxes right away. They have to wait until the end of the year. But in the meantime, what they do is spin up the money printer and print as much as they want. Or in this case, they just type in more zeros in their computer. That's it. That's all they need to do. They need more zeros in the computer, and then they can transfer it to whoever they want to, right? But that's essentially what's happening right now. So that is why Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin. And I'm a day late, but I'm going to say it. 12 years ago was the last time we heard from Satoshi. He basically said, I moved on to other things. It's in good hands now with Gavin and everyone, right? I wonder if he's still alive. I wonder if he's paying attention. But Satoshi created something to go against the banks, to go against the shenanigans and the bailouts and the distrust and more money printing. That's what Bitcoin is all about. And he came out the white paper, released Bitcoin back in 2009, and look at where it is now. It is actually a store of value now. It's actually being used worldwide by countries, institutions, financial products, and held by millions of people worldwide. I don't think he predicted, he, she, they, predicted that it was going to be like this. Or maybe they did. But no way he could have known that this was going to happen. But this is exactly the reason why we are in Bitcoin. Exactly the reason why Bitcoin also picked up this year. and recovered, I think, faster than most of us expected because of all the weakness in banks. It's the exact reason why Bitcoin was created. So, phenomenal if you think about it. To create a digital currency out of thin air and make it and get it to where it is today is virtually impossible. If there was a percentage, if you could have made a bet on whether or not Bitcoin was going to succeed back in 2009, it would be like 0.00001% chance. Like, it's astronomically difficult to make that happen, but it happened. That's how good it is, mostly due to you guys recognizing that Bitcoin is different. It is different, right? As more people realize it's different, more people are going to come into the space. Raoul Paul, who is a former Goldman Sachs guy, predicts that we're going to have 1 billion users flood into the market in the future, right? Right now we have a lot, but still nowhere close to 8 billion people, right? But soon, maybe after this cycle, we're going to have more than 1 billion people in the space, not only hodling, but also utilizing what Web3 has to offer along with Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin has some exciting things going on, but Web3 has even more exciting things brewing and developing and will be used in the future. So we are still so early, very, very early indeed. Standard Chartered, a bank, says Bitcoin could hit 100,000 by end of 2024. Yes. So bank analysts, even though they work for the evil banks, even they're predicting Bitcoin's going to go much higher due to weakness in banks and due to other factors. So just think about that for a second. That banks and banks analysts are predicting Bitcoin to go higher. And of course, the whales are accumulating more and more. Okay? I mean, this is hard to read, but just know that addresses between 10 to 100 has been loading up, and 100 to 1,000 loading up, right? Even 1 to 10,000 loading up. The only category is plus 10,000 not loading up as much, although they did before. Okay, but right now you got across the board anything under 1,000. I would say, under 1,000 Bitcoin. Those addresses are all stocking up. And why are they stocking up? Because they know what's coming, right? You can just see it. You can't dispute this, okay? Because of the 4-year cycle, because of the halving event, because of more people coming in and more usage and stronger network. This is the reason why Bitcoin keeps doing this. You have up and downs, you have crashes, but then you also have phenomenal gains afterwards, right? And this is one looking at one of those EMA ribbons, and you could see last time Bitcoin broke out of it, pretty good, and then the time before that, pretty good as well. And we have just broken out of that. You can't dispute this anymore. And this pattern, right, of making higher lows and higher highs continues to move forward. I mean, it's so easy to pinpoint. And I know when we were at 15,000, 16,000, it was scary. But I've reminded you guys that it's nothing if you live through previous cycles like I have. You see right there in 2013, 2014, when it showed Bitcoin at 1,100, that's when I got into the game. I didn't understand anything. I rode Bitcoin down probably to like $400 range before I'm like, that's enough for me, okay? But it went down to $152. Right? And then look at it. Throughout all the up and downs, then it went up to 20,000. And yes, it crashed back down to 3,000. But 3,000 is nothing compared to $152. And then we went from 3,000 all the way to 69,000. And most of you guys rode that with me. But then, yes, we rode that down to 15,000. But 15,000 is still 5 times bigger than the 3,000 that most people don't realize, right? So next time we go to wherever we head up to 200, 300,000, and we come back down again, which we probably will, but you could see on top the drops are getting less and less because there's more and more people holding and understanding. So the next time we have a drawdown, maybe it's only 70%. It's not even 78%, right? And maybe we're at 300,000 and we come back down and we'll be at 50,000 or 60,000. But the pattern is clear. We keep forming higher lows and higher highs, right? So some people will say, well, why do you continue holding? If you know where the top is, of course you could sell it. Yes, but no one knows where top is. But DCA, if you keep DCAing, you just win because Bitcoin is the winner. Bitcoin is the fastest horse in the race. And as long as you keep loading up and stacking sats, you'll be fine. But the pattern is so clear and so obvious, but many refuse to acknowledge it, right? They only focus on day-to-day or week-to-week or even month-to-month. But when you focus on year-to-year or years, or let's say cycle-to-cycle, then you realize this is a no-brainer. You just want to stock up as much as you can. It's really that simple. And then lastly, I saw a couple things. Hopefully none of you guys got tricked. KuCoin. KuCoin's main Twitter got hacked. And it's asking people to like click into these suspicious links. Do not do so. I thought by now they would have got it back, but I don't think they got it back yet. So they're actually tweeting this on another, account called KuCoin Updates. So don't be clicking on any clicks or links on KuCoin's Twitter. Okay, I don't know why they don't have two-factor turned on, but. Okay, so just be careful with that. And then lastly, I saw this. Wrap Bitcoin is on Cardano through this partnership, right? So in the future, you may be able to use Bitcoin on Cardano. Well, at least a wrap version of it. Not the true Bitcoin, but a synthetic version of it, right? That's kind of exciting. All right, that is pretty much it. Bitcoin's at 27.6, a little bit higher than yesterday. We're a little bit in the green today, and overall market should be going up in the future. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right, scrolling down. Jay Lopez says, bought 1K Polygon this weekend. Congratulations. Let's see. I have a question about Friday's show. If you loan your crypto, is it a secure loan or someone can default? You're talking about if you're staking in a pool, right? Yes, because it's the way they operate is whatever they lend out is less than what you put in, right? It's kind of like I believe that's the case. I actually have to double check with Aaron more, which he will be coming out in another video. But I'm pretty sure it's under collateralized and plus over collateralized. And plus, I think that's exactly it. Not only do you have to deposit to make a loan, but you're over depositing, over collateralized, right? So basically a decentralized version of it. But I will double check on that. What do you feel is going to happen to BTC and the whole crypto community or industry if the war actually breaks out? It would probably be bad. If China attacks Taiwan, let's say, it would send markets down. I think that's pretty obvious, Kay. I mean, there's no war that's going to make anything pump. And don't be telling me, oh, gold's going to be pumping. No, it won't. Everything's going to be selling off. Is it true Steve Jobs or Satoshi? No. Zero chance. Zero. Less than zero chance. Tommy, what's the difference in weight and the weight token? I mean, there's duplicate tokens, but Hourglass is the company behind the next crypto gem, and they have a lot more things coming out. So wait for that. But, you know, sometimes if you go on CMC, you could see like multiple tokens of the same name. You got to make sure you got the right one. Which is the best DEX out there to hold and why? That's a loaded question. Because most DEXs, you're holding a governance token. You're not actually, I mean, it's not really being used at all other than governance, and that's it, right? But even then, people feel like, well, I should own it because they're so big. You know, case in point, like Uniswap, for example. They airdropped their tokens after they came out. Right, I think it was just really a way for them to fundraise. They needed money to operate. But should you hold it? I mean, it's not bad, but I'd much rather hold L1s and L2s than any DEXs. My average price is $27K. Price to stop DCA got on $1. No. Why would you stop DCAing? Do you think you have enough Bitcoin? That's the thing. If you accumulate like 1,000 Bitcoins, then sure you could stop. But if you accumulate like 1 Bitcoin or 2 Bitcoin, why would you want to stop? Why do you think all Apple computers have BTC white paper? Because some engineer thought it was clever to hide it in there, and that's it. I mean, it's pretty obvious. It has nothing to do with, oh, Steve Jobs is Satoshi. No, it has nothing to do with that. He's not even a programmer. He's not a programmer. He's not a developer. He's a genius marketer. But, you know, there's no way that he could, yeah, let's just leave it at that. Why does no one talk about wax anymore? You know, Mike, that's a good question. Wax is still very hot with NFT and NFT games, but literally no one talks about them. There's a couple reasons why, I believe. Oh, geez, that's a horrible picture. They were at $4.6. Number one, they have a very complicated 5-token setup. Their main one is Wax P, but there's like Wax A, Wax B, Wax D, and quite honestly, I don't know what any of them do. Okay, like I don't know if it has gotten better or not, but they had a 5-token thing and it confused the hell out of people. And number two is I think they just don't market enough. No one knows. No one knows anything. Like if you look at the stats, if you actually look into the stats, Wax P volume is actually very high, among the highest for NFT volume. But no one really knows that. You know, that's the thing. So some of these projects need to do a better job at just getting the word out of what's going on within their ecosystem. Do I think Gala will hit $1? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. Let's see. No. No. Way too far from it. Not within this pump. Not within this cycle. If MetaMask is verified by Google Play Protect, it means not a scam app. Well, MetaMask is not a scam. Many people use it. But if you're looking for a good browser-based wallet, check out RX Wallet. RX Wallet is really, really good. Better than MetaMask. Has all the functionality and more. So I'm an advisor to that project, and I think it's fantastic. Brand Jam. Just because I think something can't do a 25x does not mean I'm bearish on it. So, cool your jets. I saw John Cena as a car guy. He has a Type R. You regret not getting a Type R? No, because I still stand by the fact that if you're like over 35, you should not be driving a Type R around. Type R is a phenomenal car. But the previous generations looks just too outrageous, too rice burner kind of look. The current generation toned it down. I have not driven it yet, but I'm sure it's going to be great. But I just reviewed an M2. You know, if you're into high performance coupes, something that's so fun to drive and looks fantastic and won't be embarrassed when you drive it to a nice restaurant or wherever nice you're going with a date, then look at an M2. It's a really good car. Aurox, AUROX wallet. I have a link in the description if you can't find it. Any comments on meme coin pumps? No. No comment. Meme coin pumps. Why do you need to comment on them? Trust Wallet is different though. Trust Wallet is a mobile wallet. Browser and mobile, different, but they are working on a mobile wallet, right? It's in beta right now, but Trust Wallet is still my main wallet when it comes to mobile, but RX will come out theirs later on. Andrew, appreciate that. 2023 911 GT3 RS for the win. Show us your pictures, my man. That car is a $300,000 car, and not many people can be driving that daily. People could be driving M2 daily or Type R daily, but not many people could be driving a 911 GT3 RS daily. Gala is not going to be hitting $5 to $10 next bull run, Felix. I think you need to look at token economics more, understand that, because that would put them into like a way too high of a market cap. This is unreasonable. Just because something has a lot of decimal points, okay, does not give it greater potential, because usually when there's so many decimal points, there's more supply. So token economics is very important, okay? So don't think just because something has a lot of decimal points that it has greater price potential. That's not always the case. Do you think a BRICS plus community backed currency could make BTC redundant? No, because BRICS is just 5 countries. It's not worldwide. BTC could be used worldwide by every country. It's not sovereign to any country. Can you give us your formula for determining market cap and price potential? It's pretty easy. Just look at it this way. Ethereum was like 4,000 at its peak, right? That gave it roughly where the market cap of Bitcoin right now. So 500 million, okay? Let's just assume in the next bull run that Ethereum will be higher, which I think it will be, and Bitcoin will be higher, yes. But some of these smaller ones, like Polygon or Cardano or Solana, right? Can they reach to where Bitcoin is now? Possibly. Polygon would have to do a 25x from here to reach Bitcoin's market cap. Is that realistic in the next bull run? I would say no. I think that's a little bit too much for them. Can they do a 10x to do 100 billion market cap? I think that's reasonable for something within the top 10. Right? But that's how I judge it. Like, you look at the closest competition and then you make a judgment call whether or not it could get there. But if you're talking about, well, all of a sudden you're expecting Multiverse X to get up to, I don't know, $10,000 or $100,000 what Bitcoin is, it's not, because then that would give Multiverse X a market cap of trillions. And there's nothing that's going to be in the trillions besides Bitcoin. No other altcoin is going to be in the trillions in this next bull run, right? That's how you look at it. So when people make outrageous claims like, oh, okay, XRP is going to go to $589, it's not going to happen. It can't. The market, there's not enough money for that to happen. So you just have to step back and kind of look at that. That's the very basics. But whether or not token economics is a lot more than that, you got to look at the inflation rate, also how much is being held, how much is going to be unlocked, stuff like that. Those are very important too. Why are so many people hung up on Gala? All right. Gala's at 4 cents right now. NMCT is asking, can they break $2? Okay, what is $2? How many X is that? So, I don't know, $4 divided by 0.04. That is 50X. Gala has to do a 50X to reach $2. 50X times 280 million in market cap. That's 280. That's 1.4 trillion. No, 140. Okay, 280 times 50. That's 14 billion. Can that happen? That'll be in the top 10, but by then, maybe others have moved up. Can it happen? I guess. Just not, I don't think it's that reasonable. It's going up a 50X. I don't know. I think there's a very slim chance for that to happen. Let's just put it that way. Lazaro, can CRO reach all-time highs this cycle? Yes. Joe Lamas, love this Saturday show. Be cool if you guys grade a bear market performance of current projects too. Then it's not a pitch show anymore, right? The show premise is to get new projects in and get pitched by them. you know, grading existing projects is a different idea altogether. After the inflation update, I'll just say sure. Because you're hung up on that, and so many other gala people are like, yeah, it'll go to like $2, $5. I'll just say sure. If it happens, great. I'll be happy for everyone that thought so. But I'm still going to say there's a slim to off chance that that is going to happen. Helium on Solana. Helium dumped so much. Helium really made no comeback at all. They just, I don't know. I know everything kind of looks like this because everything peaked out in 2021, but they made zero traction coming up. That Solana move, many people hated it because they felt like it was a forced move and they had to come out with new tokens. And plus, I forgot something else. There was something else controversial. People have said it's very hard to get support on the miners too. So, I don't know. Hopefully they could pull back. Do I still DCA into B Pro? No. I got off that bandwagon a long time ago when they sold to someone else. How do you think the last bull run would have looked if we didn't have that stimulus money? More healthy run up to 100K? I don't know. I know for sure, well, I can't say for sure because it didn't happen, but if Powell didn't announce rate hikes in December, Bitcoin would have hit $100,000. That's what I truly believe. But because he scared the market saying that we will be raising rates starting in January, that's when everything started crashing in December. But had he not said that and said we're going to start in January, I feel like the market would have topped out in December and Bitcoin could have hit 100,000 because we were at that tail end where everything was going up crazily in November, and December would have been when we hit 100,000. So that's kind of how I see it. You don't like Casper? I don't have anything against Casper. I just don't know enough about it. Wouldn't it make sense to get these super promising low caps to make more profit than BTC, then take all those wins and buy BTC in the future? Sure, if you're really good at predicting which super promising low caps will outperform Bitcoin. If it was that easy, then everyone would be billionaires already. Some have done very well, but I'm telling you, like, you know, I've met a few VCs now, including Brian, who's on the new show with me, and they have made some really good moves for sure, right? But when it comes to investing, it's like they all sound promising. That's why you invest, but you know, getting a network effect is another thing. Just because you have the most promising project, the most advanced tech, the best leadership, right? If they don't get the network effect, they don't get users to get involved and holders to hold, or they have horrible token economics, they're not going anywhere. They could be pumped up immediately and then dump right back down, right? So to predict all these low cap gems, is more difficult than it seems. But, you know, it's not impossible. If you really know what you're looking for, sure, you can make it work. Anything that you can do to gain on Bitcoin or help you achieve holding more Bitcoin is a win in my book. And if you could do that, then more power to you. Axel Para. Well, that's good. That's good. All right, guys, let's conclude. Bitcoin's a little stronger today. The market kind of mixed still because there's mixed earnings. You got Samsung and Disney week, even though Samsung's not in the U.S., but still. And you got a lot more. I mean, people are still worried about what's going on, okay, with companies, with rate hikes, with inflation. But let's just not forget that inflation is mostly due to overprinting, irresponsible spending, overprinting, bailouts still happening, right? And this is why Bitcoin was created and why we're on Bitcoin, or not all, but everyone watching is, and there will be billions more that will be coming into the future. Eventually, everyone will learn about it. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.